Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Bayne. I am the Associate Program Director for the Urology Residency here at the University of Florida. And I want to thank you for taking a little bit of time to learn about our program. I want to tell you about our program, and there's lots of different ways to do this, and no one way is probably perfect, but I'm going to give you what I think is probably, I don't know, at least a fun way to talk about our program. It's the Residency Overview Top 10, where I'm going to tell you the top 10 things I like about our program. So first, just a little bit about me. I grew up in Northern Virginia, about 25 miles south of Washington, D.C. I went to college at Virginia Tech in the Valley of the Blue Ridge Mountains. I went to medical school in the southeast corner of the state at Eastern Virginia Medical School. I completed my residency and pediatric urology fellowship both in Washington, D.C. at the George Washington University and Children's National Medical Center, both in D.C. Here in Gainesville, I have a lovely partner whose name is Hannah, and have two just amazing children, Cole and Jonah. And I told you about myself just because I wanted to illustrate that I have no connections to Florida. My partner has no connections to Florida. We have no family in Florida. We have no connections to the Southeast United States or to the University of Florida. However, I love my department. I love Gainesville, and I really love Florida. And for me, the best part of my job in academics, quote unquote, is really getting to work with the residents. I love the residency. So without further ado, here are my 10 things that I love about this program and that I want to share with you. And the theme here is a little different, so just stick with it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
All right, of course, that was the Notorious BIG's 10 Crack Commandments intro. So the number one thing I like about our program is what I call Gaines Vegas, or Gainesville. Gainesville is really a fabulous place to live, and I've lived in many different areas of Virginia and DC. I know what it's like to live and work in a very large American city, and me personally, maybe this is my stage of life. I don't miss it. I think Gainesville is affordable. The economy is strong. The weather, in my opinion, is fantastic. And that's coming from somebody. Keep this in mind. As I've grown older, I like snow less and less. So maybe that's part of it. I think this is a great place to raise a family with really good schools. Some of the best schools public schools in the state of Florida. Very good safety and tremendous amount of activities, outdoor particularly. My favorite part of Gainesville is that it's less than 2 hours to a beach, either the Gulf side or the Atlantic side. My family happens to love the Atlantic side. And you have a lot of nearby attractions in metropolitan areas: Disney World, Universal Studios, SeaWorld, Busch Gardens in Tampa, which we go a lot, as well as Legoland. These are just some of the photos that we've taken at various things that we've done. Again, I said we love the beach, so we're a little biased in that. But this is a picture of St. Augustine, some of the natural springs here, and this is our family at the beach. I think the call system and the night float is quite unique, and that it makes the life for our residents more manageable than it would be in a Q3 or Q4 call system for the entire time of residency. For daytime consults, we have a consult resident, and they handle all of the daytime consults, and this can be busy, so it's a hard rotation in that sense. But the good news is, when you're not the consult resident, you're largely protected, and you're able to focus on the operating room. And as a PGY2, you'll spend 1 month being the consult resident, and as a PGY3, 3 months. Now, during nighttime, we have a night float resident. And again, this can be hard for the night float resident. You're spending a month usually, or at least a handful of weeks on night float, usually not longer than 1 month, but a couple of weeks on night float. And so that can be hard. But the good news is when you're not on night float, you almost always get a full night's sleep unless you're the chief that's on call and then take call Q6. So you'll spend 2 months on night float as a PGY2 and 2 months as a PGY3. Currently, the PGY2s and 3s cover the weekends, and this amounts to a 24-hour call every 5 weeks, and then a 12-hour Sunday every 5 weeks. A chief, which we consider a PGY4 and 5, takes chief call during the weeks and weekends 1 out of every 6. So I think that that's a manageable system. For example, when I was a chief resident, we did Q2 call, and I think Q6 I think sounds a lot more manageable. And it's because of our daytime consult resident and our nighttime consult resident that we're able to make that happen. The number 3 thing is our mentorship model. And this is just a snapshot of our rotation schedule. And you can always pause the video and look at it. It's also available on our website. But the point with this is you can see that you spend a significant amount of block time on different services. And during that block time, you're working one-on-one with the one with that one service. So usually 2 to 3 attendings on the service. Sometimes services more, particularly at the VA. But you're getting to work exclusively with those attendings. So I think that there's a lot of value in seeing the patients in the preoperative setting, the operative setting, taking care of them, and then getting them out of the hospital and seeing them in follow-up, which you get to do as part of this mentorship model because you're in the hospital as well as in the outpatient setting with the attendings. There's also value, I think, in working with one attending for several weeks at a time, getting not only good personal rapport, but learning the nuances of the way that they operate and the way that they think. And if you take good notes and you can compare that to all of your attendings at the end of residency, you can begin to see how different people think and how they manage situations differently. And not that one is better than the other, but you can kind of combine that and build the management style that you want and the operative style and the outpatient style that you want when you're an attending. I think there's value in getting to know the attendings' kind of personal and professional nuances for several weeks on end. So this is a big thing to me. I get to know the interns as a faculty member. So at a lot of residency programs, you know the interns in a very superficial or very little way, the first or sometimes even the second year of their residency. That's not the case here. I interact with the interns very often. The interns spend 6 months rotating on urology. I get to do consults with them. I get to operate with them on a routine basis. And at the end of their intern year, they choose a faculty mentor that they're going to work with in a mentor-mentee model for the rest of the residency. And of course, those things can change, but the fact that they're able to choose an attending mentor at the end of their intern year, I think speaks to the fact that we get to build good relationships, and the interns feel like they get to know us, I think, in exchange. And I think there's great value in that. It's not that the interns are an unknown entity. As a pediatric urologist, of course, I don't cover the VA, and I have really no interaction with the VA other than just being collegial with the VA faculty. But I think one of the huge strengths to our residency is that you are getting a several month span at a VA at the beginning of your residency and at the end of your residency during your chief year. And the Malcolm Randall VA is not just any VA, it's a central hub in the Southeast VA system. it's connected physically and functionally with Shands. It's right across the street, so it's easy to get to. There's a tunnel that connects if the weather's bad. It has 255 beds and 10 operating rooms, 4 faculty members, which I'll say the faculty members are stellar. And I sometimes I guess the reputation of a VA system is that maybe the attendings aren't around as much. Number one, that's not the case in our system. And number two, the faculty are all outstanding. And many of them are fellowship trained, and they've won national awards within the field of urology. So we have a very strong VA and a very strong VA faculty. And again, you spend 4 months there at the beginning of your urology residency, your PGY2, and 4 months at the end, your PGY5. So I think this is a tremendous strength to our program. Number 6 is the proximity of all the training sites. So, you know, this is not disparaging of my residency program at all. I loved my residency program and I loved Washington, DC. But one of the drawbacks per se of being in a big city with satellite campuses or facilities kind of spread out is that there's a lot of drive time. That's not the case here. Everything is on campus. Literally, the UF campus is a 2-by-2 mile square. And all the major health sites, with the exception of one, is within a 10-minute walk one another. So the main hospital, which is kind of the North Tower, the South Tower, the East Tower, the VA, and our outpatient clinics, all within a 10-minute walk. And 10 minutes is probably stretching it. You could probably get there in 7 minutes, and sometimes even sooner. There's one surgery center for both adults and pediatrics. That's about 2 miles away. We have some residents that drive a car, some residents that ride an electric scooter there. So it's up to you. And that's the only site that's not connected by an underground tunnel. So what I've shown you in the graphic, on the cartoon on the right side, is the main medical center, kind of in the southeast corner of the UF campus. And the left circle is where the surgery center is. And again, this is I think it's 1.7 miles distance between the two. Everything else is right smack dab in the circle on the right that you see. Number 7 is, and this is rather quick, but I think our department has a policy, as many other departments do, perhaps, but if you work on a research project or even just a scholarly project, it doesn't have to be a deep dive into quote unquote research, and that project is accepted to a meeting, our department will pay for you for your travel and your lodging there. And this is across the board. So we have some residents that take tremendous advantage of this and some that don't, and that's okay. It's important to note, and this is why I've bolded it, your academic time at these conferences is not deducted from your vacation allowance. So if you want to present, 2 projects a year at various meetings, that is great for the department, and we try to repay you and make it good for you because your time is not deducted from your vacation allowance. So you get that plus your vacation allowance. These are just some papers that we've published in the Division of Pediatric Urology in the last 2 years, where people have been able to present that later. So if you come to the University of Florida, which of course is part of the Southeast Conference in athletics, you'll know, and you probably already know all about the University of Alabama and the University of Alabama football team. And their head coach is Nick Saban. So and he's obviously extremely successful, if not the most successful head coach in college football history. And so I actually compare Dr. Sue to Nick Saban, and this it could come off as a negative comparison because Nick Saban is obviously, because he's so successful for a rival school, he's not liked very well around here, but he has several traits that makes him very successful. And I think Dr. Sue does too. And that's why our department is so successful. Dr. Sue wants to be the best he wants our department to be the best, and he will not accept anything else. And I think the training now for the residents is the best that it's ever been in the 60+ year history of the University of Florida. we really try to underline the fact that our department is not the residency program, and the residency program does not exist to support the department. We try to separate them as much as we possibly can. As a department, we're getting bigger and stronger. We have had open positions in endourology, which we have just recently filled. It's May 22nd now, year 2022. So I'm time stamping this presentation. We have an open line in pediatrics. We have open general urologist lines, and we have an open line at the VA. Our faculty come from a diverse series of training backgrounds. So unlike in a lot of places, the faculty have somehow come through the University of Florida, whether it's through residency or fellowship or something like that. That's not the case here. We do have some faculty that did their residency here, but the majority did not do their residency here, did not do their fellowship here. And so there's a diverse training background. And that's an intention of Dr. Sue's. And finally, Dr. Sue, as well as our department, is constantly reviewing our department and our residency and trying to find ways that we get better. And I would say that we have quarterly program evaluation meetings where we talk about our residency programs and things that we could do better. And then maybe somewhat unique, at the end of the year, we have an open session behind closed doors where faculty members and residents get together and we air everything, what went well, what didn't go well. And it's a I guess I would say a meeting in confidence to where people feel comfortable airing things that we could do better, with the knowledge that they're not going to be judged after that meeting. So I think that that's a tremendous meeting where the whole family comes together and we talk about what we did well, what we could do better, and we discuss this openly without judgment. And I think that that's something that's entirely unique, and it's credit to Dr. Sue that we're able to do that. Number 9, I think one thing that our residents and our students benefit from here at the University of Florida is really being at the cutting edge of technology in urology. So these are some of the many examples of that. We have MRI guided biopsy using the URINAB system. That's not as cutting edge now. A lot of residencies are doing this, but it's still putting you at our learners at the forefront for what they're going to do when they get out to real practice. We, with the addition of Dr. Brisbane, are treating prostate cancer in a focal way. We have the thulium laser. This is right now just at our surgery center, but there's discussions about getting it at the main hospital. We have a minimally invasive surgical training lab. We have a robotic surgical simulation center, and we have robots that have training backpacks in both towers that residents and medical students can take advantage of. We have the XI and the SP robotic system. We're the first site in Florida to perform pediatric SP surgery and the second site in the United States, to my knowledge, to perform pediatric SP surgery. So we're at the cutting edge of that, certainly. We are one of the training sites for the PROACT system with Dr. Young. That's a unique continent system that I'm sure he would love to talk more about. And we've just recruited somebody from the University of Michigan who has signed and will be coming here and doing HOLAT. And so that's a tremendous value, obviously, to medical student and residency training, the value of learning both the indications and the kind of unique advantages and potentially disadvantages of the HOLAT, and then getting to actually enact that and learn how to do that procedure. So as number 10, I really think that University of Florida offers complete residency training, open endourologic, laparoscopic, and robotic surgery abounds here. I have a video here that I would encourage you to try to watch, and I'll include it in the description so that you can click on it. And I just want to mention that when we talk about the rotation videos, because these are basically the chiefs of every division talking about their rotation. When we talk about this, we're leaving out Dr. Brisbane, who does prostate cancer focal therapy. Dr. Campbell is our male infertility specialist. We're leaving out a lot of our new endourology faculty. You're not going to get the integration with our urogynecologist. That's an evolving process here within the department, as well as Dr. Chia, that's a transplant surgeon who is currently working the majority of her time in Pensacola, but does come here once a week and interacts with the residents, both in a professional and a personal way. So when you watch those videos and you learn about the individual service rotations, keep in mind that there's a lot that's growing and we've grown so fast that the service videos don't even include. So of course, I couldn't leave out what I view as the most important part of our residency program, which of course is our residents. And I put it in quotes because I really feel a tremendous amount of ownership over our residents in a way, and I know Dr. Moy has said this too, and in a way I'm kind of borrowing his verbiage. I feel like they're my children. I love them all equally, but individually. And it's important that we try to nurture and help our residents grow in both a personal and a professional way. We're constantly trying to make our program better. And I think that that's a testament to our residents who want to make it better and identify ways that they feel that our program could be better, and feel comfortable identifying to the faculty ways to make it better. We take tremendous pride in our program, and we hope our residents do too. And one thing that I can, I think personally attest, as well as all the other faculty, I speak for all of us, is that if you come, our program will be stronger and more diverse when you leave than when you arrive. And we're really hoping to have trainees come and put their mark in the program, their thumbprint on the program. I think that you have an opportunity to do that here with all the ways that we're constantly trying to better ourselves. So finally, thank you again for learning about our program, whether you're a medical student or you're a resident. I think there's a lot of similarities between what we want you to know about our program. This is just a recent photo of a lot of our residents, some of whom have graduated, gone and done fellowships and since come back. But again, we're very proud of the residency, and thank you for taking time to learn about it.